Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Assistant Director with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is basketball officiating training tape number 1 for the 2023-2024 season. Again, this year we're going to be looking at clips from the championship games from last year. The crews did a great job, and there's a lot of plays that um, demonstrate really excellent officiating and mechanics and positioning and judgment, and some other plays that we can learn from and grow as an officiating group. So um, proud of their efforts. Again, when we're looking at these clips, we're not picking on any one official or crew or team or player, just trying to learn from these plays and have discussions as part of our pregame and preparation leading up to our games. So that's the lens that we look at these plays through, and we'll have probably 8 of these tapes. And again, if you're looking to be considered for a state tournament assignment, the expectation is that you watch the tapes that are available uh, on the Arbiter Center Hub by January 23rd. So that's the plan with those. And um, we'll do more plays in these training tapes than we have typically, probably 13 or 14 plays per tape, but we're going to try to go through them a little bit quicker, not spend as much time on some of the topics, but the plan is to cover a few more plays in each of these tapes. So um, thanks for your efforts, your preparation, your work in getting ready for this season, and hopefully these plays will assist you as we go. So with that, let's take a look at some plays. With all of these plays, our main focus is our mechanics and positioning and how we communicate as a crew, and not necessarily to pick on judgment. In this particular case, our judgment is very good. We have an A to B foul here that's called by the lead. Remember, to maintain verticality, we need to jump in one area and come down in a pretty similar area. And if not, and we play through a shooter, then we have an A to B foul. And you see that on the replays here, that the defender jumps from one spot, A, and when she comes down, she lands in another spot and makes contact with the shooter. So even though her body position is straight up and down, this is still a defensive foul because we move from A to B and play through the shooter. And because this is a secondary defender, remember that the responsibility for ruling on this action in the paint involving a secondary defender, even if it's not a restricted arc play, which it's not, it's still the lead's responsibility to rule on that contact, which is what we do here. So well done by the lead. We close down. We are in really good position to view this action. And remember that when we go from A to B and make contact with a shooter, that is a defensive foul, even if our body position is straight up and down, which the defender has here, because our body position doesn't really make a difference in this particular case because we go from A to B and make contact with the shooter. And so 2-shot foul is the correct ruling, and we're in good position and use really good spot mechanics in this play. On this one, we're going to have a drive to the basket on trail and lead side, and we're going to have an excellent no call by the lead here, and then a great job of continuing to officiate. The only thing I'd say here, just to be a little bit picky, just open our shoulders up a little bit just to widen our vision, but we're in really good position to see this. And the defender jumps from A, lands in A, is perfectly vertical. The contact is the responsibility of the offensive player in this case. And this is an excellent job of no calling this. It's a good clean block, and then it's off of the shoulder of the offensive player. So, and remember, in this one's pretty straightforward as far as who is responsible for ruling on this, but just remember secondary defender plays in the paint is going to be the primary responsibility of the lead, who's looking right at it. No calls this properly. Again, A to A, perfectly vertical, contact on the offensive player, and then the ball off of the shoulder of the offensive player after a clean block, and we continue to officiate. And don't anticipate that it's going to be a foul or just off of the defense on a block shot. So excellent positioning and judgment, good good ruling relative to verticality and offensive initiated contact. Very well done on this play. On this play, we have another example of excellent judgment relative to verticality, and we also utilize the proper mechanics. So notice the defender, the secondary defender, rises vertically, and even though he's a secondary defender in the restricted area, if we rise vertically in our plane, um, that is totally legal and recommended for the defense to do. And so we do a nice job of no calling this, and then the block by number 20 from behind is also clean. So we do a really nice job of no calling this, and then notice the lead's mechanic of raising two hands in the air to indicate that we have verticality. And again, the only thing to be picky is open our shoulders up so that we have wider vision. And then we want to work as deep as the lead as we can. And then trails, try not to come out towards center court. Let's keep our positioning at the 28-foot mark because we can assist with traveling if need be at the basket. That doesn't happen here, but um, we can assist with that if we're at the 28-foot mark. But this is really good judgment. A to A by the defender, clean block from behind. Nice job of utilizing the walled up mechanic signal. So just really well done by the lead and the crew on this particular sequence. In this sequence, we have a throw in the front court. So the shot clock's going to be at whatever it happens to be, and it will start as soon as it's legally touched uh, on the court. And then in this particular play, as it ends, we have an undercut foul um, by the defensive player who's going for the basketball and wipes out the offensive player and is properly called for a foul. So mechanically, um, C, we should stay at half court until they finally get control of the basketball and then move up court, and then we can go back to the free throw line extended. So just stop there at the mid court line. We do pick up this foul, so that's good. um, Trail probably come onto the court a little bit more to assist with this action, but the offensive player gets to the ball first, and so that is her spot. So when that defender is going for the basketball, even though they're doing that, they're not trying to play through the player. Ultimately, that's what she does, and is properly called for a foul. So um, we miss these quite a bit. I would say undercut fouls, more so dive on fouls in piles where defenders jump on or opponents jump on the other player in the name of getting a held ball, and we need to pick those up a little bit more. And in this case, it is properly called, so that's good. And then just the other reminder on this: anytime we have a foul or violation that results in a throw-in for the offense in their backcourt, we are going to put the shot clock at 35 seconds. So this is a example of that. So we would put the shot clock at 35 seconds in this particular case, but good job of getting this undercut foul. On this play sequence, I want to talk about the rule for goaltending and then our mechanics. So remember, trail, we need to be a lot lower than this. We need to be at the 28-foot mark because the way that this play develops at the basket it's likely we would have at least an opinion, if not the call, if we were going to call goaltending in this particular case. It's a good block. The defender blocks the ball into the backboard, so we're good there. So we don't have goaltending in this case, but just mechanically, trail, we need to be at the 28-foot mark so we can assist with judgment on this particular action at the basket. And the center's in really good position and can help as well, but they have to rule on potential contact on the shooter. So it's important that our trail be involved in ruling on potential goaltending. But when we're looking at goaltending, the rules on page 37, it's rule 422.1, and says that goaltending occurs when a player touches the ball during a try or tap for field goal while the ball is in its downward flight entirely above the basket ring level. So in this case, it's blocked first, but if it were to hit the backboard, we are going to say philosophically that the ball is in its downward flight. So if we make contact with the ball and it's hit the backboard and it's above the height of the rim, which is the next piece of the rule, and has a chance to go in to the basket, we would have goaltending in that particular case. So um, in this situation, it's blocked first into the backboard. So good judgment not to have goaltending. But if this ball were to hit the backboard and then be contacted by the defender, we would say that that is enough for a goaltending violation, because once the ball hits the backboard, it's going to be coming back down in a downward flight towards the basket. And if it has a chance to go in and it's above the height of the rim, it would be enough for a goaltending violation. So mechanically, just make sure we're in position to view this action and make a judgment, because it happens really quickly. And then just remember our rule and then our philosophy relative to a ball hitting the backboard above the height of the rim is going to be in its downward flight. And if it's contacted by an opponent, it would be enough for a goaltending violation. On this play, we're at the end of the game and we have a shot attempt that is missed and rebounded by the defense. And notice that the game clock is beneath 35 seconds. So the shot clock would be turned off in this case, and we would need to have a visible backcourt count, which we do here, and we ultimately have a 10-second violation correctly called by the trail. So we do a great job here of getting into the count right away, and are in great position. The C is back to help. Remember, with 4 players or more in the backcourt, the C needs to be back to help. So we do a great job there. But just a reminder that when the shot clock is off, we need to have a visible 10-second backcourt count. And in this case, we do that. And then also the reminder here is because we have a violation that results in a front court throw-in, we are going to have the throw in from one of the 4 spots, and it's one of the 4 spots that's nearest where the violation occurred. So we should put it at the 28-foot mark on the bench side for the ensuing throw in. So just a reminder on that with the rule change for this year, but well done by the trail on this play. On this sequence, the C is on this particular matchup as she goes into the paint, and then we're going to have a traveling violation called by the new C. So let's talk about our mechanics. So C, let's move down towards the end line here and work beneath the matchup. And then if the lead initiates a rotation as he does here, that's fine. We just stay put and officiate from there. I think we would have been in good position to view this action relative to a traveling violation. We are a little straight line at the position we're at now, which is why perfectly fine and recommended that the new C would pick up this particular action in the paint. And remember, when we're not involving a secondary defender, we are going to draw a line right down the middle of the paint, and everything to the lead side is going to be the leads, and everything on the other side of the paint is going to be the center. So in this particular case, it has gone into that area of responsibility for the center, and so it is his responsibility to pick this up. And remember, from a traveling perspective, we're looking at Rule 444, and we can call moves whatever we want, drop step or Euro step or step through or whatever it happens to be called. As officials, we're looking for the pivot foot, and if we can put the ball handler or the player in control with the ball off the ground, we should do so. That gives them enough options. But in this particular case, establishes the pivot foot, picks up the pivot foot, and puts it back down. And so this is a proper ruling for a traveling violation, utilizing Rule 444, and then good mechanics in that the new center is the one picking up this action because it is on his side of the paint. So well done on this play by the crew. On this play, we have a drive to the basket, and the shooter ultimately takes the ball and throws it backwards out of bounds quite a distance, and we end up stopping the game to get the ball and get it back in play, which is fine. But if we need to stop the game because the ball has been interfered with by uh, the offensive team, and now it's preventing or delaying a throw-in by the opponent, then we should put a delay of game warning in the book, and that's Rule 447.3, and that says that a warning to a team for delay is an administrative procedure by an official which is recorded in the scorebook by the scorer and reported to the head coach. And if we were to have another one of these examples in the game, then we would have a team technical for a second delay situation. Typically, after we have one, it doesn't happen again. Um, if we can work with the players and remind them not to touch the ball and those kind of things and not stop the game, that's ideal. But at the same time, the opponent should have the opportunity to have a throw in immediately after a made goal. And if the ball is thrown like this quite a distance and they can't get the ball right away for a throw in, then we should be stopping the game and putting a warning for delay in the scorebook. This is another really good example of an A to B foul. Even though the defender has a vertical body position, he plays through the shooter, and we properly call the defender for a defensive foul here. We're in good position, trail at the 28-foot mark, C at free throw line extended, and we have a proper call for an A to B foul. And remember, when we have contact involving a secondary defender in the paint, the primary official responsible for ruling on this action is the lead, and that's who calls this particular foul, and that's well done. The only thing is, lead, I like our position right now. When the ball is in the middle of the lane, we close down, and that's great, but we need to work deep and stay on the end line or deep of the end line there. We don't want to come on to the court until after we've made the call. Then we can close and do our spot mechanics, and that's fine. And we want to have a physical presence, certainly when there's a play with a lot of contact. But let's stay off of the end line, view the action, call the foul, and then once we call the foul, we can close towards the action. But this is an A to B foul, properly called by the lead. On this play, we're going to have a defensive rebound, and in the outlet pass, or in the process of the outlet pass, they throw it away, and we're going to have a throw in by the new offense back in their front court. So a couple things on this relative to shot clock and then placement of the throw in. So as soon as we have this rebound here, shot clock will be at 35 seconds. It will start, and then it is thrown out of bounds. Because we have a violation that's committed by the offense here, that results in a throw-in for the new offense in their front court, the shot clock will be set to 20 seconds in this situation. The theory is behind the 20-second resets is that because it's a throw-in in the front court, they don't need that in 10 seconds, if you will, to get into the front court to begin their offensive set. So that's why it is 20 seconds. Remember, foul or violation that results in a throw-in in the front court by the offense is going to be set to 20 seconds if it is not already set at 20. Or in the case of a foul or violation by the defense that keeps the ball with the offense and the shot clock's at, say, 27 seconds, then it's going to stay at 27. But in this case, because it's a turnover of an offensive team violation that results in a throw-in in the front court, the shot clock is going to be set to 20 seconds. And then on the throw-in spot, remember that fouls and violations, administrative stops by the officials, we will do the throw-in at one of the 4 spots nearest to where the violation or foul occurred. In this case, when it's thrown out of bounds like this, we do not use one of the 4 designated spots. It's going to be at wherever it goes out of bounds. So in this case, you notice that we end up at the 28-foot mark. So I guess this crew was ahead of their time as far as the rule change is concerned. But this year and last year, for that matter, on this particular play, the throw-in should take place where the ball goes out of bounds and not at one of the 4 designated spots. This play situation just demonstrates really good positioning and mechanics throughout this sequence. So just wanted to play it through. Trail hustles down to get into the 28-foot mark after the ball clears the backcourt. So that is really well done. C, free throw line extended, in a good position to view what she needs to see. Lead is mirroring the basketball. The trail never gets higher than the 28-foot mark and works beneath matchups. So this is excellent mechanics and positioning throughout this play. Just really well done. And then something to keep in mind relative to the shot clock, this will be starting at 35 seconds, as you know. So we have a change of possession here. Anytime there's a change of possession anywhere on the court, it's going to be 35 seconds. And then we're going to play it down, which is how we should be doing it. It's continuing to run, no problem. And then we're going to have the shot attempt here, and it's going to be an air ball that ultimately goes off of the defense and stays with the offense for a throw-in. So remember, the throw-in spot is where it goes out of bounds, not at one of the 4 designated spots. Secondly, because we should not have a reset, it's going to continue with whatever the shot clock happens to be at. I want to point out that if the shot clock operator does reset the shot clock here in air, we should stop the game, go over to the operator and have them return it to what it was when they reset it. If they have the recall function on the console, they just hit recall and it will turn it right back to the amount it was when it was reset in air. If they don't have recall, we'll have to work together with the table, with stats, any other personnel at the table to piece that together to put it back to what it should be. But the easiest way to do that is to use the recall function and say, hey, hit the recall. It will go right back to what it was, and then we can resume the game with a throw-in. But having the recall function is not required, but it is strongly recommended. And be sure to check in with the table personnel to see if that is an option for your games. Just want to talk mechanics and primary coverages on this one. So we're going to have a dribble drive that leaves the trails area and goes down the paint to the basket, and it's going to be heavily contested by a couple defenders on the attempted dunk here. And can certainly support an A to B foul by defender number 24 it appears that the other defender is legal on his defense, but um, just want to remind you as a crew that primary responsibility for ruling on plays involving secondary defenders in the paint is always going to lie with the lead. They just have a better idea of whether those players are going A to B. Did they establish legal guarding position? Did they maintain their verticality? All those kind of factors that go into making decisions on plays like this. And I just think we're we're a little too far away, and our view is distorted from center on this play. Again, can support a foul on 24, but would prefer that the lead take primary on this. The lead as closed down properly is in excellent position to rule on this, and we need to let the lead have this particular play because I think our view is not what it needs to be to determine if 24 actually made contact with the shooter, and we definitely can't see what that other defender is doing based on our view because we're looking through the back of this defender. So just be careful on this center and trail, especially when dribble drives go away from you into the leads area. Let them have it, and we do that here. That's good. But centers, let's slow down, allow lead to process. If you do have a foul, just post and hold. Don't make a preliminary signal because we can always get together and talk and make a decision if need be. But let's slow down our mechanics and allow the lead to have a shot at this because remember, secondary defenders in the paint, primary responsibility lies with the lead. So again, can support a foul, A to B foul on 24, but let's slow down our mechanics and defer to lead on this play. On this last play, I want to talk about our mechanics relative to timeouts and how we work through granting those and those kind of pieces. And we do a really nice job here of making sure that the team that is asking for the timeout has control before we grant that timeout. We have a tendency as officials to kind of go a little quick on these and award timeouts when a player or a team does not have control. And so we need to make sure that a team has control before we award timeouts, and we do that here. So that part is good. Um, just make sure we continue to view players in the dead ball action. We slide and get in good position, but number 24 gets really excited, and that's great. It's great to have excitement, but he ultimately kind of trips over and moves into um, the opponent, number 24, who is sitting on the ground, and there's a potential for injury there. So just make sure we continue to view the dead ball action, clear the players, make sure that we have officials that are in position to make sure that when teams are crossing to their huddle that we don't have any issues there. And we do a good job of that here. But just make sure we clear the dead ball action. We don't want to have anything happen um, after the fact, and like the sportsmanship of 23 helping his opponent up, but just make sure we're in the neighborhood to have a physical presence to keep anything from happening after the whistle. And the players do a really nice job here of clearing and going to their bench for the timeout. And we just need to make sure we have a physical presence. And it's just a reminder that we can't grant timeouts until a player has control of the basketball. Um, we have a tendency to go too quick on these and just grant timeouts as soon as we hear the request, and we need to make sure that they actually have it, and then we can grant it. And coaches, that means sometimes it might take a little bit for us to grant that timeout because we need to make sure that A, there's control, and B, that we know which team is actually asking for a timeout. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. A held ball is the right decision, but Just make sure we slow down, make sure they have control, and then award the timeout. And we do that here. Very well done. Okay, that will do it for training tape number 1. Again, you want to view these on the central hub for officials that are interested in a state tournament consideration, and then it's available on YouTube for coaches and others that would like to view uh, this training tape. And again, appreciate all of your work in getting ready for shot clock and all the new rules that came up from the NFHS this year, including the league rule regarding no closely guarded when dribbling in the front court. So we've done a really nice job of preparing and getting ready for the season. Continue to review the documents and the resources at mshsl.org/shotclock. Again, as we make tweaks and updates to those documents, we will post the newest and most up-to-date documents to that site. So continue to review those. Continue to have great conversations with your crew, with coaches, and with the table as we work through these new rules and expectations. But so far, we're doing a great job. We're off to a good start. Proud of all of you. Keep up the good work, and have a great weekend.